You have a spare moment. You open an app to cure 3 minutes of boredom. Before you know it, 2 hours have evaporated. These platforms rely on an algorithmic design that creates time blindness. The seamless transitions between visually captivating clips strip away external cues, causing massive chunks of an evening to vanish without a single conscious decision to keep watching. This data charts the paradox of the scroll. Happiness levels among users rise by about 10% after viewing, but that temporary emotional boost comes with a steep cost. Over 65% report a significant drop in their daily productivity. Chronic viewers also report a cluster of severe secondary symptoms. Nearly 60% experience sleep disturbances, while over 60% struggle with impaired concentration and deep, lingering feelings of guilt. This pattern of exhaustion is often dismissed as brain rot. Scholars now identify it as a documented state of cognitive fatigue and emotional blunting, a direct result of the chronic overstimulation found in algorithm-driven content. These platforms are actively re-engineering the brain's cognitive machinery, replacing controlled attention with a forced state of digital dependency. This structural shift begins with the immediate impact of fast-paced video editing on human brain chemistry. When you watch rapidly edited clips, it immediately disrupts two specific neural signals known as the N2 and P3 components. Under normal circumstances, these electrical signals act as your brain's natural braking system, helping you inhibit impulsive reactions. By suppressing these signals, the rapid editing removes your brain's capacity to withhold impulsive actions. You lose the cognitive brakes required to stop scrolling. This lack of inhibition clears the path for the digital reward. Every time you swipe or receive a like, a region deep in your brain called the ventral tegmental area fires off. That firing releases a surge of dopamine. This molecule travels straight from the reward center into the nucleus accumbens and then shoots up into the prefrontal cortex. Because scrolling requires zero effort and has no delay, this neurochemical reaction mirrors the exact pathways triggered by a slot machine payout. You receive gratification without the need for delayed effort. Short-form platforms bypass cognitive effort entirely to deliver unearned chemical rewards directly into the brain's deepest addiction centers. Through a process called neuroplastic adaptation, your brain adjusts to this constant flooding of dopamine. It builds a tolerance to the chemical surges, requiring more stimulation just to feel a baseline level of engagement. This tolerance traps you in a cycle. You are forced to endlessly scroll just to maintain a baseline emotional state as the brain seeks out its next hit of dopamine. This flowchart illustrates the clinical feedback loop of problematic short-form video use. The brain shifts away from goal-directed thinking, becoming trapped in a stimulus-driven cycle. On the right, weakened executive functions lead to increased vulnerability, driving impulsive digital coping mechanisms that restart the cycle. This psychological loop is then compounded by the environment, specifically the intense artificial light pouring out of the smartphone screen. That light chemically suppresses the pineal gland, stopping it from releasing melatonin. This artificially delays the onset of sleep, denying the brain the restorative rest it needs to repair itself. Over time, this combination of overstimulation and lack of rest leads to a structural consequence. Gray matter responsible for inhibition, memory, and language physically shrinks. A brain suffering from chronic sleep deprivation and gray matter reduction displays a neurological profile that identically mirrors the characteristics of ADHD. The ultimate behavioral casualty of this entire rewiring process is the death of delayed gratification. The classic marshmallow test proved that the ability to wait for a larger reward is a vital human skill linked to long-term success. Algorithmic media is systematically dismantling that skill. This poses a specific danger to children and adolescents. Because their brains are in a state of high plasticity, they are uniquely vulnerable to permanent changes in how they process rewards and regulate attention. Fortunately, neuroplasticity goes both ways. Because the brain constantly adapts to its environment, the structural damage and cognitive fatigue are largely reversible. Clinicians recommend hard digital boundaries to break the cycle. The most effective intervention is a mandatory screen blackout 1 hour before sleep, allowing natural melatonin to release and restoring the brain's rhythm. Intentionally practicing delayed gratification activities, like reading or learning a new skill, is the only scientifically proven way to rebuild gray matter. By forcing the brain to work for its rewards, we can restore executive function and reclaim cognitive independence.